Hello, welcome everybody, Guru Conference 2024. Very excited to meet with everybody here today. My name is Brian Minnick. I am with Zero Bounce, and today we're talking about unlocking the inbox, and we're going to give you some strategies for superior email deliverability. And just a quick introduction on myself. So I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Zero Bounce. I encourage and welcome you all to connect with me on LinkedIn. That QR code will bring you right to my profile. Please connect with me. I'm always available and always happy to kind of talk with anybody if they have a specific case. I come with a background in marketing and tech my entire life. My professional career has always been there, and the email space is just something I've always been passionate about and naturally curious. And so again, welcome everybody. I'm excited to do the presentation with you all today. A little bit about Zero Bounce. So we are an email validation provider. We have over 350,000 customers on the platform. We are a 4-time Inc. 5000 honoree. Off to the right here, you'll see some of the client logos. It's a very small sample, but some big names here, companies that trust Zero Bounce for their deliverability and validation needs. And so with that, let's get going here. So what is email deliverability? This is something that's always still mysterious to a lot of people. And deliverability is the likelihood that your emails will reach the inbox folder, okay? So delivery is not deliverability. Delivery is that really beautiful stat that the ESPs put up for you that says 99.86% of your emails from your campaign were delivered. But delivered where? That's always the question that should be top of mind for anyone in the marketing space, in the email space. Delivered where? Spam folder, inbox, or blocked altogether? That's the question that you need to answer. And just in 2024, we did some inbox statistics and found out, which is no surprise to really anyone, almost nobody is checking spam, and 25% of people are checking it a few times a year. And that's generally because something prompted them to go check it, such as an important document or email that they were expecting, and they couldn't find it, and someone said, go check your spam. So the spam folder is as good as the trash folder, and it's not something you should ever rely on. It's not going to get you any performance. So what impacts email deliverability? What impacts your ability to be into the inbox when you send your campaigns? It's going to be influenced by both you and the provider that you're using to send mail, okay? The domain is going to play a significant role here, and the IP address that your mail provider is using is going to play a role here. The shared IPs come with a little bit of risk because you're inheriting the reputation of anyone who's on that IP address along with you. So for better or for worse, you guys are stuck with them when you're using a shared IP. A dedicated IP can provide a little bit more value as you have full control of that IP and what's going on there. But in general, your domain and your IP are going to play a big role. And then your sender reputation, which is another mysterious term out in the marketplace as far as email goes in the industry. What is your sender reputation? What's your bounce rates? Who's engaging with your email? Are you on blacklists? All of these things can impact your deliverability, and we're going to touch on a bunch of them. Other things that can impact your deliverability will be your email authentication. So your DNS being properly set up with SPF, DKIM, DMARC, and BIMI. And I know that those acronyms might scare some people, but they're not that complicated, and I'll go through it. Your content and quality of the content and what's going on, your linking, all of that will play a role. That's obvious, and that's what most people are fully aware of already. And then your email list quality. This is something that's going to be super important to it because it's the overall health of the list that you're sending from, that you're sending to. And so, are these people active? Are they openly and engaging with your emails? Are they replying? Do they want your emails? The quality of your list is going to play a really big role here. And if you take nothing less from today, please make sure you always remember quality over quantity when it comes to email list size. This is a topic that I really wanted to talk about today as well, because as I've been in this industry for a while, I'm starting to realize that not everyone sees the full picture of who could impact your email deliverability. So the most obvious one is the marketing team. These are the ones that's probably most of you today. The marketing team is the one sending your newsletters, the communications. This is again, the most obvious looking one. However, they're not the only people who impact deliverability, okay? Sales teams impact deliverability a lot. And those outbound emails, especially those cold ones that they're trying to generate business, those are the most risky and highest impact to your deliverability that you can possibly have, because they're very likely to be marked as spam because they're kind of unsolicited. No one was always asking for those emails. So your sales team needs to be careful. Your sales team needs to probably get off your domain and make sure that they're not impacting your deliverability from the marketing side, because they will play a role. And I've definitely watched the marketing team spin their wheels trying to figure out their problems. And meanwhile, sales is blasting away. So pay attention and understand what's going on from all of these departments, okay? The next is operations or tech. And this might be a different department for every company, but whoever's sending the transactional emails or the simple notifications, or maybe just the very basic welcome to the platform or thanks for your purchase, these are actually very good for your deliverability, because generally speaking, people are not marking receipts as spam. People are going to open the receipt, make sure the shipping is correct, or whatever it might be, right? So these notifications are actually very beneficial, and because they get engaged with. So engaged does not have to be, clicking and then purchasing. A open is still a engagement signal that's very valuable towards your deliverability. And then lastly, probably most importantly, is your customers. So how they're engaging with your emails is going to play a huge role in your deliverability. When they're opening, clicking, forwarding to their friend, all these kind of things are sending very good signals to the mail providers and the spam filters. And if they are marking you as spam, they're unsubscribing, these are things that can put some kind of negative signals towards it, but the unsubscribes are not bad. That's okay. It's the mark as spam that will really kill you. So be careful and understand what's going on when your customers are engaging, because they're impacting your deliverability. So today, I'm going to talk about 3 different ways to build a foundation for solid email deliverability. So now that I've kind of explained it, you know who can impact it, what can impact it. Let me talk about a few ways that you're going to be able to improve your deliverability and build the foundation. And regardless of your business size, whatever industry you work with, whatever your audience is, and your skill level, there will be points here today that will provide benefit for you. So I'm excited to share them all with you. Number 1, you have to start with a clean email list. Okay, this is an essential point and a starting point for anyone doing email marketing. You cannot achieve strong deliverability if you have a low quality list. And a low quality list has a different definition for a lot of people. For some, that might mean that you have been acquiring this data for years and you've really just never done anything with it. You've been collecting and hoarding it, and now you want to start doing things. That's fine, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily a great list. Okay, it might need some work. Another one might be purchasing data. These are not good ways to achieve goals for the marketing campaigns. Okay, so purchasing data is not a strong and good clean list. Validation is imperative to make sure that you're removing any of the invalid, disposables, or temporary emails. Spam traps are another thing. And if you recall, I was talking about these people who mark you as spam. Those are labeled as complainers or abusers. The term can be interchanged. Email validation would make sure that any of the data points that you're bringing into your mailing software are good, marketable contacts. And that's what's really important, because again, it's about quality, not quantity. The other things that you want to be doing is protecting your sending reputation with a clean list. So you're going to remove those bounces, those hard bounces that, by the way, aren't going to be delivered, whether you validate or not. The only thing that's going to happen is they're going to affect your sending reputation, because the mail servers use that as a negative signal to classify you as a sender. So sending reputation is not given, by the way. It is earned based on positive signals that are coming from A to Z. So when you send, and then also when your customers or your recipients engage, how they act and how they do all of that definitely plays a role in your reputation. And each one of the mailing providers, mailing email softwares and mailing services and spam filters are building their own unique reputation on you, okay? So just because you're okay in Google does not mean you're okay anywhere else. You need to kind of look at it from a point of view of they're all building reputation around you, and some use different techniques. Some use this blacklist, some use the other ones. You need to just understand what's going on and get a good idea, and removing bounces, spam traps. These are the easiest things you can do to make sure they're not on your list. Okay. You want engagement. Okay. So when you get, when you send a list to quantity instead of quality, when you send to that kind of a concept, you're not really getting the actual performance. What you're getting is muddy water that's not really giving you the full picture, because maybe 30 or 40% of the emails you send to haven't checked their inbox in 5 years. So what's the actual performance? Do you have any real clue? Make sure you get the junk data out of there so it's not watering down your stats. And pro tip for you email marketers, you're going to look great when your open rates and click-through rates jump, because you've removed all that dead weight off your list. So there's another kind of thing. There's some benefits. Some statistics that really everyone should know, and we've been doing this since 2020. We started in 2021. And in 2022, we ran the report. 2023, we've done the report again. And obviously, we're still waiting for 2024 to wrap up. In 2023, we validated and checked over 7 billion email addresses coming through our platform. Okay, that's a lot of email addresses. And what we found was we saw another increase from 2022 into 2023 of 25.7% of people's lists are decaying. That's a scary stat. And if you think about it, it kind of makes a lot of sense. So we have people moving jobs, companies are closing, companies are popping up. Email is becoming a little bit more of a item that people aren't so attached to, at least in the business space. People create multiple emails. People sign up for different things. They have all their different ways that they're kind of manipulating email. And if you're in the B2B space, so if your database is full of businesses, this number is going to go higher, by the way, because that's churning much more than what I would consider consumer email or these free email accounts like AOLs, Gmails, Yahoos. They tend to last a little bit longer. So make sure you're checking this. Again, 1 of every 4 of your emails 1 year from today will be gone and invalid. It will not be a marketable contact. So let's get that off your list. Don't send before you're going to do a campaign. Don't send to those people. So how can you clean the data? Use validation tools, easy uploads, upload a CSV, text file, whatever it might be. You're going to get your results back quickly. For example, with zero bounds, 100,000 emails will be returned to you in 30 to 40 minutes. We'll scrub the whole thing down for you. But really some of the other, that's the easiest ways. There's integrations, there's connected to your ESP, all of that kind of great stuff. But simple format, CSV, text file, Excel file, upload it, get your results. One piece that's really important, and I'm really excited to share, and I do have an example, is real-time verification. So on your sign-up forms, on an API, if you're checking out the checkout process, account registration, your white paper, if you're putting an email field on your form, you can validate that email that's being put in there in real time and do that while the user is still on your website. I'm going to show you that. Things to look out for validation, because we're seeing this all over the place. These pop-up shops, they come, they go. Be careful when it comes to the accuracy of that validation engine. This is not easy to do at large scale. I'm telling you this from experience, gray hair and a bald head. This is not something that's a walk in the park. This is very hard to accomplish. The security and compliance, again, it's your data. Make sure that that data that you're submitting to anybody is considered, safe. This is PII. We have an obligation to make sure that the data we submit to vendors is being handled with care. So be careful of that. Make sure you pick people that are doing things right with the data. And then speed. We don't have all day. Everybody's got a job to do. We all got things to do. Make sure the speed is aligned to the project and based on your timelines. So let's check out that real-time validation form that I was talking about. On the left-hand side is just a mock-up of a typical form, right? Name, email, password. It doesn't matter what you have here. It's just an example so you can see how it works. On the right-hand side is Zero Bounds validation engine behind the scenes. So this is not visible to the users. We're just showing it so you can see how it would work. When someone puts in their email address, which I know it's very hard for you to actually see, but that domain is typoed. It says gmail.com, okay, which is obviously not their email address. And so when we do that and the user is submitting this form, you can make an API call. We'll catch that it's a typo, and you can see it here under the sub status. If you check out the arrows, you'll then see that did you mean, and it's prompting it back up to the top of the form. And it's basically saying, hey, we noticed you caught a typo, and would you like to fix it? And so did you mean to capture this? You can then replace the email, and you have the correct information from that contact in real time. And why this is important is because I have never come across the situation where the user ever thought they did anything wrong, okay? No one considered that they sent you an invalid email or a typo. They sent you an email, you didn't send them the receipt, you didn't send them what they're looking for, and now they're profiling your business because they made a typo. This is very common, especially if mobile traffic is a main source for you. So get it cleaned up. Additionally, scrub a list real quick. Get a sample of what's going on. On the front of our site, we have an upload your list button. Drop your list on that thing, and within 10 seconds, we're going to give you a snapshot as to the risk that lives on your list. And then you'll be able to take some judgment and some understanding of your list from there. And then if you just want to check an email address out to see how it works, do that as well. It's right on the front of the website. Does not require any accounts. See the power. Typo your email address. Typo, do different things, test it out, see how it works, because your users are doing this against you, and we can catch and recollect the proper information there. I just want to do one last thing here on validation, which is a case study that we did with David over at the Workplace Depot. Before Zero Bounce, he came to us with some problems. His ESP wasn't happy with him. He had a bounce rate of over 4%, a spam complaint of over 0.2%. Which, by the way, the thresholds for this is under 2% for bounce rate and under 0.1%, 0.1% or under for spam complaint rates. After Zero Bounce, the bounce rate dropped to 0.4%, and the spam complaint rate came back within what's considered acceptable. These numbers make a big difference to the overall outcome of your campaigns moving forward. And we were lucky enough to get something nice from David as kind of a testimonial here on the email list cleaning process has improved our sending reputation, boosted deliverability rates, and it's a clear sign that our email campaigns are more effective and they contribute to the growth and success of our marketing efforts. So I want to thank David for his testimonial here, but David is one of 350,000 plus that are seeing the benefits that are coming in regards to validation. So thanks, David. Second is the authentication of your emails. This is a really important thing. Back in February, Google and Yahoo teamed up and started requiring authentication on the domain. Microsoft has joined. There's some minimum requirements that are supposed to be in place for these. I don't even think anyone should care about the minimum requirements. You should all have this in place. It's super simple. It's not that complicated, and it will help your reputation, and it will help with deliverability. So let's get your emails authenticated. I'll talk more about that. Adding email security, so blocking and quarantining suspicious emails. This is DMARC. So DMARC is very important, and that's what's now required by Google and Yahoo. And the whole point is to minimize the ability and minimize the capability of people who are trying to spoof your domain. Okay, DMARC works with SPF and DKIM. SPF is really kind of a simple concept, but it's very easily messed up. It's done in your DNS, and what I've seen time and time again is people just creating multiple SPF records, and that's going to fail by definition. You can only have one SPF record, and you have to know how to nest the different systems that you're using in order to do that. So that's something that's very commonly messed up. DKIM is kind of simple process. Your ESP gives you a record to add, and you should be okay from there. And then monitoring the email sends. That's what's really the power part of DMARC. Okay, so DMARC is going to give you the ability to monitor what is going on, what's going outbound from your domain. And you might say, why do I need that? Well, there's people trying to spoof, and they're looking for people that don't have DMARC because you can't block them. So if you don't have DMARC, you have no protection. DMARC is the security policy that does not allow people to spoof your domain. There's 3 different types of DMARC policies, and you generally want to walk through them. There's just a monitor step where you're just observing. There's a quarantine step where we are actually going to send emails to spam if they're not authenticated properly. And then there's a reject, which means that you block all the emails that are not checking. the boxes that you put in place with DMARC. So DMARC is really important, and it's there's much more to learn on it if you're new here, but it's really simple to actually set up. So to create a DMARC policy, you can go right into zero bounds, add your domain. It's going to spit out a DNS record for you to add. We're going to default you to none because that's what's required and recommended for beginners. And then anything that is suspicious or is kind of out of line of what you're sending, you're going to get notifications on and reporting so that you can take some decisions as to what to do with them, and make sure that what you're sending from, what you can also find in here is legitimate email sends that are not authenticating properly because something was misconfigured. DMARC will highlight those for you. The last step here, another important one, is warm up. So warming up your emails and your domain to send, to build reputation is really important. This is something that basically what's happening is you get seed emails that will engage with mail that you are sending. So that you can either send the mail on your own behalf or connect a mailbox, and then behind the scenes, Zero Bounce would manage the sends of that, or any of these warm-up tools. They'll manage the sends of that. And what they're doing is they're creating positive engagement and positive mail signals out on your domain and your IP. And so the automated part is the beautiful part. That you don't want to really worry about this or thinking about. Set up your domain, set up your email account, and let it run. The positive interactions here, there's only positive interactions that come out of it, such as they're not going to bounce because they're sending to seeds that we know won't bounce. They're going to open your email, they're going to click it, they're going to favorite it, they'll mark it as important. They'll do whatever it is, and it's sending positive mail signals back around your domain and your IP. So it is a way to help kind of do a few different things. It can either build your reputation, it can repair your reputation, or it can just simply help you maintain good reputation. So if you've had problems, you need to repair. And a good way to repair it is getting some of the emails to those seeds, let them kind of work through it, and then they're sending those positive mail signals back. And same with building your reputation. If you want to ramp up and send larger amounts of email, you cannot just do that one day. You have to have reputation behind your domain. So whether it doesn't really matter the case, this is the type of service that you'd want to hook up and leave it. Keep it going while you're sending your campaigns, because it's going to increase and boost positive interactions that are based on your domain. So the ways that you can do it, again, I think I kind of talked a little bit about this, but your goal is to have an inbox score of 100. Your goal is that all of your emails are going into the inbox. And if they're not, you'll start to see those adjustments happen over time. So it does not happen overnight. Warm up is exactly as it sounds. It's a warm up process, not an instant gratification. It takes time. We need to shift the signals to positive signals for you and get your domain in a good place with great reputation. Other things that could just affect deliverability and can help kind of boost some of it is assess where you're getting your leads from. How are you getting these email accounts? Are they double opted in? Are you purchasing data? These type of things, they're very important. So understand where you're getting your leads from. Monitor your reputation. Google Postmaster tools, in my opinion, is the absolute best. Hook up, go to postmaster.google.com, add a domain. It's going to give you a DNS record to add it, hit verify, and within 2 or 3 days, you'll start to understand where your reputation is and leave that running. Send to seeds before you ever click send on your campaign. So do inbox testing. Understand if they're going to spam on all the major providers or if they're going to the inbox folder. It's really important. And also, if you want insight to inbox versus promotions tab, that's another thing you can get as a benefit for seed testing. And then if you can, segment. Do things that are different, okay? Don't just spray and pray. That's not always the best strategy. I realize it's the easiest, but it's not always the best. Look for ways to get better engagement from the emails that you're sending to, because that's going to give you the better inbox visibility. I welcome everybody to sign up for a Zero Bounce account. You'll get a whole bunch of free stuff, free validations, free monitors, free testing, free inbox testing. By all means, please take advantage of these. They're great tools. And then in addition to that, for everyone joining and watching the conference here today, I highly appreciate you. Thank you for joining with me today. 5,000 free email validations we're going to offer to everybody. You can do it all on your own. Just enter code Guru 2024 as if you were going to go purchase 5,000 credits, and it will add them to your account for free. If you have any issues, reach out to our support team here at support@zerobounce.net. And with that as well, I want to thank everybody. Thank you for joining with me here today. And I'm super excited to get into the Q&A. So let's let it rip. What do you guys have? And let's get into it.
Thank you for attending today's session. Please make sure to participate in the poll at the right of your screen. Also, don't forget to get that free offer from Zero Bounce. And if you're interested in today's deck, which had a ton of great information, please scroll to the bottom of your screen. Now we're going to have Brian join us for the Q&A.
Hi.
Hey, Brian, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Thank you so much for speaking today. And also thank you for being a gold sponsor.
Of course.
We have so many questions, so I'm going to jump right in because I know we don't have a ton of time. A lot of them are kind of similar, but different. So I'm going to try to do the best here. The first one is email deliverability of your domain affected by both emails sent from marketing platforms, such as like a HubSpot or a Salesforce? And also like if the sales team is sending from Outlook or through Salesforce or Marketo, those type of things. Like how did the deliverability affect?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I did try to touch on that a little bit, but to add more color to it, your reputation is built on your domain and the specific email address is sending out. So whether your sales team if your sales team, your marketing team, your tech team, your ops team are all sending on the same domain, they're building a profile that is domain wide, okay? And your reputation is being built on the domain and also will be built on the individual email. But just to make sure also I kind of touch it, if I'm sending emails from my Gmail account, brian@zerobounce.net, there you go. I just released my email, everybody. If I send emails out on that, and then I also hook that up to HubSpot, and HubSpot is sending emails out on my email address as well, they're both affecting and playing a role in my deliverability, and they're all kind of linked together.
They're linked together. Okay, perfect.
Yep.
And then another question is, I have heard from many people that their email deliverability has recently become an issue where it hasn't been before. Have there any changes been occurring in the ESP algorithm that might cause this?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's tons of things that are happening, guys. And really the big story here and what a lot of people aren't focusing on is the quality. The big providers, Yahoo, Gmail, for example, right? They're purging and expiring email addresses that people created in 12 to 24 months. Kind of there's some scenarios around that. Okay. These type of things play big roles onto your deliverability. And so if you're still sending to these guys, this is why, it's not just me. Everybody I'm hearing today is talking about engagement. Yeah. Drill it in your head, guys. I don't know how many more people can tell you. If you guys are mailing people that are not engaging, that's negatively affecting you. And the mail servers and the filters see this, by the way. They are in the back end. So imagine they have access to see what's going on, and they're making decisions on their network based on your sentence. So yeah, you got to pull the bad stuff out.
Okay, and this is specific to the higher education or community. One of the people said they just shared, they went from a shared IP to the IP. Do you have any advice on how to warm up a new IP address, and how can this period impact deliverability?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a tough one. By the way, this is not just related to school. So anybody going from a shared IP to a dedicated IP, that is something that, by the way, you're headed in the right direction. This is a good move, but you need to be patient and you need to build some reputation behind it. Okay. So if it's a brand new IP address and you just start blasting all this mail out, you're going to instantly get thrown on these blacklists. The way to kind of circumvent that and the way to set it up properly is to put it on a warm-up schedule. Okay. And kind of what I was showing, whether it's Zero Bounce or somebody else, guys, I don't care. Put it on a warm-up schedule that's going to establish it as a brand new domain. And what that's going to do is step up the sending patterns over each day, over each week, over each month. And that will give you the ability to kind of have this warmed up IP address that you can send on.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then the next one is, since delivered isn't the same as deliverability, what would you consider a better metric or indicator that your deliverability is poor?
That your deliverability is poor. Wow, that's actually a very good question, because I was leading towards your. I always work backwards. What's the outcome of the campaign? What is the point of the whole campaign? First off, if you can't answer that, pause and take a second and think about that. Why am I sending this email? What's the outcomes I'm looking to achieve? If I work backwards always from that. So to me, that would be my starting point on any campaign.
Okay.
But on the deliverability side, I would really start to look through, if you're putting a call to action out there or you put a coupon code out there, measure the conversion on that. But the buttons, clicks, things of that nature are definitely going to be helpful. But the open rates, they're so skewed at this point. It's not a reliable metric. It's nice to give you an indicator if it's been consistent, whether that's ramping up or ramping down. It's still an indicator. However, I'm not sure it's 100% accurate. It's not something I would rely on, but consistency would show you if something changed.
Okay, that's great. Do you recommend any deliverability tools that check seed lists, or is it better just to monitor the IP and domain setup periodically using tools like MX Toolbox?
D, all of the above. So there's, I think that it's what's really important, and something that this is not only email marketing, this is business. It is not the one thing that changed that you did or didn't do that made or broke you. It is the sum of all things that make impact. Okay. When you add those up, that's when you really start to see improvements. And that's the long game, right? It's not the quick magic bullet, it's the long game.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you. The next one is, do you recommend marketers to be the primary holders or enforcers of data collection? How do you recommend influencing if marketing isn't in charge or doesn't have a lot of control over data?
This is a question with somebody with a sales team. I can promise that. I'm 100% certain of that. Sure, of course, but I think what's really important, what the way to do it is work together and get your sales team on board with how you're going to move that data into something that might be mailed. Cold emailing is not the end of the world. This is still a proven thing, and it's legal to do it in the US. You're not breaking any laws. Do it the right way, but you're not doing anything necessarily terribly wrong. You're just really going to impact your deliverability. So you need to get on the same page, because what I see is the marketers fighting tooth and nail to get every little drop out of their performance. And I'm with you. I'm on your team. But then you haven't said anything to the sales guy, who I know is uploading 4,000, 6,000, 8,000 leads that he got off some random website because they're leads. So you got to get them. Everybody's got to get on the same page. I do recommend that someone owns that, but get everyone else that's involved on the same page.
Okay, great. And then what are the best deliverability tools you can recommend aside from validation tools for monitoring and checking domain setup, IP reputation, blacklist status, ensuring emails don't go into spam?
Yeah. So obviously Postmaster tools is a big one. I highly recommend postmaster.google.com. That's the Google Postmaster tool. That's going to show you your spam rate. That's going to show you your email reputation, your IP reputation, and it's free. It's free. It's like one of the best tools, and it's free. Although it doesn't look pretty, it's more of one of those technical tools. And then I really like a lot of the other ones that are helping you with understanding if your content is giving you a problem. Things around litmus and those type of tools as well. They're great. But again, it's the sum of all. I'm sorry, guys. There's a lot of work to be done. It's not just one thing.
Well, thank you again, Brian. I know we're running out of time, but connect with Brian on LinkedIn. Take advantage of their offer, and don't forget to get the deck, and enjoy the rest of Guru Day 1.
You guys killed it. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Yes, thank you.